Welcome to another episode of Terrific Tips for Business. I am Terry, your host, and you can't spell terrific without Terry. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I'm really excited to have this next guest with us. I know you hear me say this all the time, but I just love all of the people that I get the honor and privilege to talk to on this show and that I get to share with you, my listening audience. So Stacey Murphy is somebody that I've recently connected with. It's been what now, 6 months or so, Stacey, that we've known each other?
Yeah, about 6 months since beginning.
Almost. And it's just been an amazing experience just having her beautiful smile, the radiating light that she brings to the table in my weekly calls. So I get to see her every single week, and I just had to share her with you. So for those of you that don't know Stacey, let me introduce her. Stacey is our love and intimacy coach. She's also known as the specialist of the feminine arts. She shows professional women how to feel strong, feminine, and seductive in the presence of men in life and love so that they can embrace their queen status to live a full and vibrant life. Ooh, doesn't that just feel fun? I'm so excited to have her here. She really does show us how to do that, and she embodies it. And for those of you that are watching this on camera, you can see how much she embodies this. Through her work, she actually did the Quality Man GPS system, which is just so fun. What a fun title. Women learn how to attract and maintain a happy and juicy relationship with a high caliber man that stands the test of time. Who doesn't want to have a deeper, better relationship with themselves and with the others in their life? I think we all want that. And that's why Stacey is joining us today. So please join me in welcoming her to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Terry. That was like an amazing introduction. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I am glad that you think so. So tell us, Stacey, like, how did you get into being the love coach? Because that's a fun.
Yeah, I get asked this question all the time because I'm you said like a love and intimacy coach. My official title is a certified sex coach. And I'm also a certified spiritual practitioner, but I don't go by the sex coach title because I was getting the wrong kind of clients and the wrong kind of, questions and interests. And I'm like, no, I was like, that's not me and everything else. So I get asked this question all the time. And whenever I go to business functions and they find out what I do, oh my God, it's just like, oh, what about this? Can you tell me this? And how did you get into what you were doing in the first place? Yeah. And I tell people, well, do you want the real answer or do you want the short answer? The short answer, because my background actually is, I went to college for marketing, and my background in corporate for 25 years was brand management, and I did corporate brand marketing, and I was really good at what I did. And I got my college degrees worth is what I said. So I got that investment back in spades. Yeah. But it wasn't, I was good at what I did, but it wasn't feeding my soul. It wasn't feeding my spirit as much. I was like kind of like a body that was going to work, doing my thing, but this was checked out. And so when I was still in corporate, I was like, what is my second act in life? What is it that I want to do? And I tried this, I tried that. Doing stuff in the spiritual healer, wanting to do this, and everything I tried, I lost interest. And so I got so frustrated with myself. And at the beginning of January 2008, I put a command out to the universe because my philosophy is more spiritual, metaphysical, new age stuff. So I put a command out to the universe. Show me what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm tired of, these fails, start and fail, start and stop, and all this other stuff. So I made a command out to the universe. Well, 3 weeks later, I got my answer. And what happened was, single mom, divorced. My daughter was with her dad, but I was asleep. And like, I'm talking to you right now, girl, I heard the word tantra. And it was so loud, I jumped out of my bed because I thought somebody was in my house.
Yeah, I
I
probably
mean,
would
because I was supposed
too.
to be by myself, and I was just like, real, and I jumped out of the bed, and I was like, oh my God, who's here? And I looked around, and I was like, I'm by myself.
Ain't
And
nobody
then,
in this house.
and I was like, oh goodness, I know what that meant. I put that command out there, and I got my answer. Now, for those of you that don't know, Tantra is an Eastern philosophy of sacred sexuality, right? And I was like, why that? Why sex? Oh my God. People are like freaked out when they talk about sex. So I went to a trusted friend who is also, in the metaphysical teachings, and she said, this is what she said to me. You asked the question, you got your answer. So either you move forward with it and see where it takes you, or stay exactly where you are, but don't complain. And that's exactly what she said to me.
That's a
So
good
I
friend
took,
right there.
yes. And she said, but don't complain if you're going to stay where it is here. And I said to her, why me? And she goes, why not you? She's like, obviously the universe feels that you can handle it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten that answer to your question.
Mm.
So to that, I took a really big, deep breath. Honestly, I took a couple of deep breaths with it because I was uncomfortable with that answer.
Yeah.
I had my own, how you say, sexual issues and, things I had to heal within myself. And I was like, well, if that was what I'm supposed to do, I need to heal this issue within myself first.
Mm.
And then I said, well, I only got one word, which was Tantra. Well, here's what's interesting about that. This happened in 2008. I had first been introduced to Tantra back in 2000,
Wow.
and I did zero with it. I had these books on my shelf. I was familiar with the concept. I went to one little workshop, like a day workshop, but I didn't have I didn't have a partner at the time to practice it with. There wasn't like a Tantra community where I was. So for 8 years, the books stayed on my shelf. Well, I got that one word and I pulled the books out. I said, well, let me start here. And then what ended up happening was I was like, oh, okay. Then I said, let me take some Tantra, go back to some Tantra classes. At this time in my life, though, in 2008, I did have a partner in my world at that time. So I was like, okay, babe, let's go and do these Tantra things with me. He's like, okay, and stuff like that. So we went and, they're not necessarily, cheap to do the Tantra training. So I was like, let me get a side gig so I can get some extra money to pay for this. Well, for my side gig, I found out, I can do sex toy parties in women's homes. So I was like, I can do that. So I started investigating that. And then I started doing, those to earn some extra money. And then while I was doing those sex toy parties, people may be familiar, like, passion parties and things like that.
Yeah.
And when I was doing that, the women were like, how can this help me in my relationship? How can this help me feel better about myself? So then I was like, okay, let me kind of frame out these toy parties that I'm doing. So I started researching some, information so that I can do educational things with my toy parties. So then I found out, I can get certified and do that. Literally, this is how I'm sitting in front of you today. This is a true story. So if you've ever read the book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, I recommend that book highly because what he describes in that book is exactly what I experienced as to why I'm here today. And Michael Singer is multimillionaire, and he tells about how he got to being a multimillionaire. It's truly fascinating. I mean, totally fascinating. I definitely recommend that for everybody.
I've
And
heard that book a couple of times. So for those that are listening, this is like the 5th time this book has come up this month for
oh,
me.
really?
So you want to make sure that you go get that book, The Surrender Experiment. If you haven't read it yet, definitely go read it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to reading it. That's next on my list.
It's one of those things it gives a totally different perspective of how to be in the flow of your life. and the amazing things that you can manifest by doing that. And he explained it was his own personal story that was a personal thing, but then it also produced all these amazing things in terms of money, business, and prosperity when you're in the flow. And especially even when it's uncomfortable. Just like when I got that thing about Tantra, I'm like, why the heck that? You know, that was the furthest thing from my mind. If somebody would have said to me, oh, you're going to be a certified sex coach, I'd be like, what are you smoking? Really? You know, I mean, I'm being honest. I'm being truly honest. And so sometimes our gifts that we have to give to the world are the very things that we have to heal and overcome in our own life. Mm-hmm. And all I did was say yes. And everything went, I literally had to have running shoes to keep up with how everything was unfolding. Yeah. And what happened was I found out, oh, I can be a certified sex coach. Oh, really? Okay, that's juicy. And everything else like that, because that was the one thing that was missing in my personal life, in my marriage. It was my marriage. He was a dependable man. He was a great father, but as a husband and all that, oh, boring as hell, you know, and things of that, things of that nature. And so the passion and the joy and the juice was out of my life. And that is what it allowed to bring back in. So when I accepted, right? When I accepted and didn't resist the message that the universe gave me of what my second calling in life was, that is when things took off in a direction that I never even dreamed was possible. Awesome. So I stayed at my corporate job and was doing my certification and teaching in my business for 5 years. And then for 5 years. And so that's what I always recommend to people. If you have a day job and you want to migrate over to doing your own business, start doing it while you're still in your current job. And here's the mindset that I adopted, which helped me. What happens, I said, okay, here I'm in this corporate job. I said, you know what it is? It is teaching me skills that I'm going to need when I have my own business. So instead of being resistant going to my day job, I saw it as, they're training me. They're paying me, and they're paying me at the same time as I'm getting that training. So that was the mindset I adopted, so I didn't have any kind of resistance towards my day job.
And you're not the first person that I've had on the show that's talked about that. Actually, one of my very first episodes, I think it was the second one, I was talking with a man named David Frankel, and he owns the Perky Collar. And he, in the very beginning of the whole COVID thing, went to go work at Papa John's, I think, with his son. So his son's throwing the pizza and making the pizza, and he's being a delivery guy, and he's out delivering the pizza. He's a clothing mogul. Like, he designs professional clothing. Why is this clothing mogul going to work at Papa John's, and what is the benefit there? And he had the very same philosophy of, I'm doing this because they're paying me to train me, so that way my career can grow to the next step. There's something that I'm supposed to get out of working at Papa John's in their process and how they're processing things and how they're managing things that I can apply into my own business. So it's a beautiful mindset. That's absolutely the best place to be.
Yes. And it takes you out of resistance. Yeah. That is the biggest thing it takes you out of. And when there isn't resistance, that is when your manifestations and your dreams can grow, right? And it all comes out of that. So during this time when I had to, travel for my day job, I went on Yelp to see, okay, what are other sex positive stores or whatever in the market that I'm going to be in? And I sat in on classes that other sex educators were doing so I can see how it was done. So that was my market research, right? And things of that nature. So I just tag team things so that I can get as much knowledge as possible. So then I got liberated from my corporate job at the end of 2013, right? And that's because to me, it was a liberation. Yeah. And I got liberated from my corporate job at the end of 2013 with 85 other people. And then what happens is I had my base of my business. I was already teaching for 5 years. I was, doing stuff. So then I was upset for 48 hours and then I was good. And I was good. And then I went into doing my business, having my coaching business full time at the beginning of 2014, and I've been doing it full time ever since.
That's
Right?
beautiful.
And at the time of this recording, we're dealing with a health crisis with COVID. We're dealing with an economic crisis of everyone having to just stop business and going on furlough during this time. And then of course there's also racial unrest. So it's like, oh my God, what else can we throw into this pot? Oh, let's throw in an election too, right? And things of that nature. So it's like real crazy. But with all of this crazy going on, my business is actually booming. And I'm doing good. So that's the other thing. Just because crazy may be going around with other people doesn't necessarily mean it has to be happening with you.
Mhm.
It's like that. It all comes down to mindset, mindset. And so here's in terms of sharing a mindset with people. I had to recover from 2 surgeries last year because I had a hysterectomy.
Oh, wow.
And so one of the things I said that last year was, all right, the universe is giving me the opportunity to learn new ways of doing the same thing.
Mm.
Because there are a lot of things I could not do the same. Like I couldn't drive last year. I could not drive for about 5, 6 months.
Wow.
And yeah, I couldn't drive. And so it's like, oh my God, how am I going to get around? So for the first time in over 20 some years living in Florida, I took public transportation for the first time in Florida. I grew up on public transportation because I'm from New York City. That's all you have is public transportation.
Right. That's the only way around up there.
Yeah, the only way around. But for the first time in Florida, I've been in Florida for over 25 years, first time using public transportation. And I was like, man, this is really nice. And things like that. It was hilarious. It was really nice. And guess what? Because of my surgery to get back in shape and I couldn't drive, well, you know what? I had to hoof it on 2 horsepower. So I was doing a lot of walking. And for the first time in my life, well, in my adult life, I actually bought sneakers because I don't wear sneakers. I just wear heels. That was what I did. So for the first time, I had to get walking sneakers. I got sandals and I loved it. I was like, oh my God. And so I got like all these different Skechers and everything else like that. So what
They
happens is,
do make comfortable shoes. Mind
yeah,
blown. Yeah.
look good too, right? They even look good. I got some with a little bling bling on it and everything else with the Skechers and to fit my love goddess persona and all this other stuff like that to make it fun.
Yeah.
So with all the crazy that started this year, I was like, all right, I got a preview of that last year. So I was like, so what happens is the mindset. This is what I tell all my clients. This is what I do every day in my business. This is what I tell all my clients. I said, here is the silver lining. The universe is giving you the opportunity to learn some new skills, to learn some new abilities. We're also learning to be resilient in our own life. And then what happens is if we're resilient in our own life, we can then be inspiration for other people so they can be resilient as well in their own life and in their career or in their business. So like I do with dating, they're like, oh, how can you date in the age of COVID? Well, here's some of the benefits to that. Because of social distancing and people are not going into bars and restaurants in the same way, guess what? People actually have to have conversation. People
Right.
have, oh, go, so it's like men and women actually have to have conversation to really get to know each other. And here's the benefit list to women, especially. You're getting to know a person, you're getting to know a man without having in the back of your head, oh, from his meet and greet, is he going to try to get me home, to his house so he can be touchy feely and all this other stuff. Well, guess what? That's off the table right now, right? So that's a relief to you. We're having video, they're doing more video dates, right? More video dating. I've done some of that with friends. It's like, hey, get your food, let me get my food. And we're like doing a video date on Zoom and all this other stuff. Well, then guess what that does? It helps you see where a person lives and how they live without even stepping in their house and stuff like that. And then you're able to tell, is this guy I'm talking to, this person I'm talking to, are they in alignment with the vibe that I have? So these are all benefits, right? If you have a hard time communicating, well, guess what? This is giving you the opportunity. Work on your communication skills and things like that. So this is how it's like, look at what is this giving you the opportunity to do?
Yeah.
And that is the mindset. So instead of focusing on what you can't do or what's not right, or instead of focusing on, oh my God, people with their jobs, I'm not going to have any clients, I'm not going to have any business, and blah, blah, blah. You can choose to focus on that, or you can say, all right, with COVID, the racial unrest, and politics, a lot of people are feeling unsettled about themselves. A lot of people, this is giving a lot of people the opportunity to work on themselves. If you're a coach, if you're a healer, if you whatever, just look within your own business. How can my business help people improve their life?
Yeah, and I'll say too, one of the things that I hear a lot is, yeah, now's the time to invest in myself and learn something new and develop a new skill, but I'm overwhelmed by what I can learn, or the areas of which I feel like I need to focus on, or the areas that I feel like need the support. There's too much to do and too little time to do it in. But I think you touched on it a little bit about the alignment. You were talking about the alignment with another person, but I think there needs to be an alignment happening within as well, where we look at this opportunity and we say, yes, here's the time to invest in yourself, to develop yourself. And what makes the most sense for you to do right now? It doesn't make sense for you to do all 100 things, like to learn how to go parasailing and to learn how to cook and to learn how to play the piano all at the same time. It doesn't make sense. So what makes the most sense for you where you are right now? Maybe we start there and then get that figured out, and then you can go on to the next thing.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up, Terry, because overwhelm is real. Overwhelm is real for a lot of people, and part of what contributes to overwhelm is overthinking it.
Oh, boom. Guys, mic drop right there. Like you're overwhelmed because you're overthinking it.
Yeah, overthinking it. So this is what I share with my clients. This is what I do myself. Drop into your feelings, right? Drop into your feelings. What is it that you are feeling? And just literally drop, when you say drop into your body, where does your body feel tense? So you can do this. You can say, okay, there are so many things I'm interested in doing. So write down, what are all those things you're interested in doing? Write down all those things that you're good at doing, right? And then first write out all those things that you're good at doing, write out all those things that you're interested in doing, and then see where there are parallels. Then wherever there is a parallel, that gives you an indication to start on those things first. Then if there's more than one parallel that's there, like say, for example, you list, on each list you have 10 things. And then all of those 10 things, say 3 things parallel, they match on those 2 things. Then you focus on those 3 and then you drop the other 7. Then those 3 where there are connections, then for those, each one of those, you say, okay, let me use one of your examples of cooking. Okay, let me use the cooking thing. So then you go with the cooking, you go, okay, so with the cooking, just kind of sit quietly, close your eyes, and actually do a visualization of what this cooking thing it is. You cooking, like maybe you want to be a chef or something like that, right? So visualize that and see how it feels in your body. Does your body feel tense in any area? Does your body feel light in any area, right? Especially check with your gut. Check with your gut, because your gut is your third chakra. So for those of you that are spiritual teachings, your third chakra is right at your belly button. And chakras are energy centers in the body. Those are energy centers in your body. So what happens is the third chakra is also responsible for your will, your self-worth, your self-confidence. So this is many times when they say if you have butterflies in your stomach, it's because it's reacting to your self-confidence and your self-worth. So check within your body and see how it feels. And if it feels really illuminating, you feel twinkles in your body, whatever, then that is your body telling you, bam, you've hit on something. If you think of it and you're doing the visualization and your body feels tense, it feels nervous, you get a headache, whatever the case may be, then your body is telling you, put that to the side. Okay? Put that one to the side. Not that it's bad, it's just not right now.
Right.
Okay. Not that it's bad, it's just not right now. This is helping your body prioritize so that you can get out of overthinking, you get out of overwhelm. And then you do it on the third one. So like the third one, you do the same thing, the visualization, see how it feels in your body. So whichever one felt the lightest in your body or the more illuminating in your body and your inner wisdom is telling you to start there first. And then you can prioritize. So that is like the quickest way to try to get through all of that. Or you can do like I did, make a demand of, whatever you believe, right? It could be, with me, it was the universe. For you, it could be spirit, it could be God, it could be goddess, it could be Jehovah, whatever the case may be. So whatever your belief is, you can make a demand of your entity, because making that demand shows that you are passionate, that you want an answer. It's not this wishy-washy, well, I think maybe. The universe doesn't respond to wishy-washiness.
No, it doesn't.
And when you're wishy-washy, when you're indecisive, when you're not clear, that's when you don't get what you want.
Absolutely. And I think the other important thing here is you're tuning into yourself, you're stopping. And the only way to hear what's going on inside, or to hear what the universe has for you, is to shut everything else off. Mm-hmm. Like walk away from the technology, the email, the text messages, the phone calls, the social media, the TV, the radio. Shh, just put it down. Yeah. And go outside, listen to nature, or go take a bath, or do something that's going to allow no other senses to come in and distract you while you go through this exercise. Because otherwise you're just going to get confused. You're not going to be able to hear.
Exactly. And, even like if you were to sit down with candlelight, I like your thing about, having a luxurious bath and whatever. It's like, sit down, even in the bathroom, have candlelight, have some music going on in the background, and music that is soothing to you, music that puts you in a place of peace, right? Have that music, and then close your eyes and then start doing the visualization and see what comes up, because you may be surprised. You may be surprised. And then also pay attention to synchronicities in your life. Synchronicities are also giving you, that is also the universe speaking to you. I always tell people think, when they say, oh, I'm going to pray, I'm going to pray to God and all this other stuff. And they think, okay, you can pray, you will get your answer, but it's not going to be like Moses in the burning bush and things of that nature, because they think, oh, when am I going to get a sign? It was like your creator really speaks to you all the time through synchronicities. Those are the signs, right? And so look at whatever synchronicities are going on in your life.
Yeah, you got to be aware of them, or take the time to be conscious of them, because there are signs. There are signs everywhere, and people who believe in signs believe there are signs everywhere. And it really can happen as quickly as it did for you. 3 weeks, boom, you had your answer. Like you said, this is what I need, and I need it now. And there it was. It was right there in front of you, as if it was part of you your whole life. Like you always knew that's what it was, somewhere in your body. You just needed somebody to point it out for you.
And you're so right, Terry, because I actually started giving relationship advice when I was 15 years old. And an all girls Catholic high school, and I didn't even have a boyfriend. And seriously. And I would ask, it was like, why are you coming to me for relationship advice? And I don't even have a boyfriend, because I wasn't allowed to date until I was 16, right? I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16. So I didn't even have a boyfriend. And what happened is they're like, but Stacey, you give such practical advice all the time, and it seems to always work. And so it doesn't matter that you don't have a boyfriend. You kind of know what to. I was like, all right, And I got a little bit resentful though about it. Now come back, here it is full circle. When I made this demand, and here's the other thing, when I made this demand of the universe, I was in my 40s. I'm in my 50s now. So for those of you that's like, oh, I'm too old, take that off the table. You're never too old. There are people that are going to college to get their degree, and they're in their 80s and things of that nature. They're not doing it to get a job. They're doing it for themselves. That's who they're doing it for, is for themselves. And so here we come full circle. And I'm actually doing something that I started doing when I was 15 years old, but I resented it at that time. And
So
I
in
don't resent it anymore.
I love that. And here's something, this is a common thread that's happening inside of these conversations that we're having on the terrific tips is we sometimes have to tap into what our experience was before. So a lot of people right now are having to think about, what am I going to do now? I'm on furlough, I've been laid off, my unemployment's running out, I don't have a job, there is no work in sight. Like, what am I going to do? Now's the time to tap into, you have skills, you have knowledge, you have abilities, you have things that you used to do when you were younger that you probably haven't even talked about, thought about, or picked up in at least 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a revenue generating resource for you.
Yes.
And there was a reason you did it when you were younger, because you liked it. That's why you did it when you were younger. So why not look at that as an option to help you generate that revenue again? And I love that this is something that you have found a way to tap back into and have that positive relationship with, because I definitely think now's the time to do that for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. And what I'm also hearing from a lot of people now is, and this is also another tip to consider in terms of where to focus your healing. What I'm also hearing from people is feedback that they've consistently received, whether it is in their performance evaluations or feedback that they consistently have received, whether it be family, friends, or colleagues, of, like, say for example, let me to be clear about it. Say for example, someone would get a consistent comment on their performance review about they need to get better with their communication.
Mm.
Let's just put that as an
Put
example.
it out there. Yeah.
Right? Let's just put it as an example. So if that is a consistent feedback that you've gotten, that is actually giving you the clue of where you should start. So if you've consistently heard different types of feedback about certain things that you may be doing, which is causing self-sabotage or is impeding your success, then that is actually giving you the first thing that you need to resolve so that you can move forward in your career or your business, right? Yeah. And that's what I see a lot of people are also doing, right? They're saying, like, you know what, I've gotten this consistent feedback, but they've been resistant to either working on it, they've been resistant to whatever the case may be. Now, because of all of the crises that are going on and people are being unsettled, they're now getting serious about healing those things because they know the competition is going to be more fierce. And they need to make sure that they're putting themselves in the best possible position.
Yes.
So now they're like, I need to work on this stuff now, and I can't waste any more time. Exactly. That is what's motivating people to change, to improve. I like to say to evolve, right? I use the word evolve versus change, right? We're evolving. And with any kind of evolution, there are growing pains.
Sure.
And I tell people, okay, when you were younger and you went through a growth spurt, you didn't say, stop growing. I want my body to stop growing and all this.
It hurts.
It hurts. You know, all this other stuff. And even if you did say that, the universe would go, yeah, right.
Okay.
And it would just keep on going. But what happens? You adapted to that.
That's
you
right.
got used to it. And then it wasn't painful anymore.
That's right.
It's the same thing with healing whatever issues you have going on in your life, but you can also be that healer for other people. In terms, you can be that healer for your clients. You can be that healer for your, if you're a manager, you can be that healer for your employees. So I have one client that I have, he owns a dental practice. And so, and I'm working with him and his partner. And so we're working on communication, right? I teach effective intimacy communication. And it's a form that I teach. It's a form of nonviolent communication. Well, what happens is I've been working with him and his partner on this technique. It's a formula. And I said, you can use this formula in any area of your life. So guess what he did? He used it when he was talking with his employees. Because he has a dental practice, his employees were really nervous about coming back to work because of COVID, which is a legitimate concern. right? So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so, he has the PPE and all this other stuff, but he used the technique, the effective intimacy communication, when he was talking to his employees. He
Mm.
got them all together and he did a motivational rah rah using that formula. And he said to me, he was amazed at how it made a huge difference in his employees being so much more at ease
Sure.
about working. And he said that it made such a difference. I said, that is the power that it has. And I have my clients practice it in their business, in other areas of their life, so that it can be easy for them to practice it in their personal life, where they have more of an emotional pull personally. And so they practice it professionally where there's not as much emotional pull that there is when you're dealing with personal situations.
But
And so,
what's fascinating about that, though, is our energy from the top does trickle down. I mean, we always hear the trickle down effect happens, but this can be a very positive thing, right? So if at the top your energy is excited, you're passionate, you're positive, you're going
empathetic.
to have that trickle down effect with your team, but it's all about the language that you use to communicate those energies
Yes.
that helps encourage and motivate and inspire others. So I think that's amazing that you were able to teach him how to do that and that he saw the direct effect of that positive communication with
Yeah.
his.
With his team. Yeah. And he said he even had employee came to him later that day and said that, and she said to him, I have to be honest with you, I was really torn about returning because I was really scared, but I need the job, right? And all this other stuff, where a lot of people, millions of people are in that same exact situation.
They are.
And she said to him, um, I really appreciate you saying that because it really relaxed me. And it was really also good to hear that you also are nervous and you also have concerns.
Yeah.
And it's not just us, in that you're feeling it as well. And it was that, she goes, that really calmed me down, hearing that you care, hearing that you're also going through, some of those things as well. And it just really brought the team closer together, and they were motivated to do the best that they could do. They were then also motivated to making their patients more comfortable as well. So it was even that trickle down effect. Right. So he did it with his employees, then the employees did it with the patients and stuff
And
like
what
that.
kind of lasting experience is that going to have for his patients? I mean, we know I do a lot of work in the dental world too. So one of the biggest challenges a lot of dentists have is this psychological fear that comes around dentistry because of pain or trauma that maybe has existed for people in the past. So there's this, we also fear the unknown innately as human beings. We fear the unknown. And because we don't, as human beings, understand dentistry, because we're not all dentists, it is unknown. So it becomes this fearful thing that it doesn't need to be. And so having that trickle down effect into that patient pool of comfort and ease and peace and happiness, like what kind of lasting relationship has he just created through his employees to his clients that he wants to serve? He got into dentistry to serve them, to help them be healthier. That just made his relationships infinitely stronger among the clients as well.
And you hit on something about relationships stronger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, it is all about relationships.
That's what it comes down to.
Right. And so the first relationship is your relationship to yourself. So, even though I'm a love and intimacy coach, I'm a specialist in the feminine arts. So a lot of the women that I speak with, because my coaching practice is primarily women. I would say it's 95, 96% women. And then it's the small percentage, which is couples. And so, I work with professional women, like you did in the introduction, to be charismatic leaders by day, so they can bring home the money, and then be a charismatic leader coming from their feminine power and not in masculine energy, right? And then I teach them how to be a seductress and a alluring lover at night, so they can rock it in their relationships, but it's to consistently have their feminine power be in the day with charisma and night when it comes to seduction, because a lot of people, and this is what happens in our society, a lot of women are in their masculine energy. They feel they have to be that way, especially in their career, in their business, in order to gain respect, in order to be listened to. And I'm here to tell you that is a fallacy, because I've worked with clients, especially a lot of female clients that are male-dominated professions. Several have been in construction, some have been in tech, and then medical. It also depends in the medical field where it is, because I know there are certain parts of medical where it's female heavy, but this particular client in medical, she was male heavy. And they worked with me specifically in my Love Goddess program, and they were able to increase their income significantly. One did a $20,000 increase, one had a $25,000 increase, one had a $50,000 increase, right? Wow. Two of my clients were able to publish their books and actually even do TED Talks, you know, from that and things of that nature, but it was all coming from their feminine power. And so that is the other thing. It's about relationships. So the first thing is your relationship to yourself. And I know there are men and women that are probably looking at this. It's not just all women and things of that nature, but, you know, that's kind of like where my specialty resides. But the first thing is your relationship to yourself, because there are 4 quadrants in terms of relationship. And I like all of you to think of this also as like your circle of influence, because research has shown your circle of influence usually is like the 5 closest people in your circle really will determine your success or your stagnation in life.
Absolutely.
And I always tell people, even include your social media connections. So if you religiously follow somebody on social media, they're in your circle of influence. And that will give you a clear indication about your success. Look at where they are in their life and look at where you are. And then you can see where it may be tripping you up or not, because successful people, what do, Terry? Successful people hang with who?
Successful people.
Right. Rich people usually hang with who?
Rich people.
All right. People that are positive, who do they usually hang out with?
Other positive people.
Exactly. Because what happens is it's like compound interest, right? It is. It's like compound interest. And so look at that, because what happens is broke people, they're hanging out with other broke people. They're all complaining about how they don't have money. They don't da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, oh my God, please don't rain on my parade and things of that nature. So yeah, think about that's your circle of influence, right?
And we really are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So think about the TV shows that you're watching too. Are you Netflixing the Tiger show that everybody's been talking about?
Which I've never seen.
I've never seen it either. I'm like, that just looks ridiculous. I'm not going to watch it. I have too many other better things to do with my time. Or are you watching shows like Billions, where you're following a billionaire around because he's dropping nuggets of how he became a billionaire in the show? Like, I know it's a show. I know it's all writing. But at the end of the day, some of the things that happen in that show are things that you can take and be like, I wonder if I applied that to my business, what that would do.
Yeah. And, you know, I work at home. We work at home. So with the stay at home, it didn't change anything about how we operate, right?
Not at all.
And my business was all virtual, was 98% virtual anyway. So nothing really changed there. So, but when I'm home, I do have the TV on for, you know, background kind of noise. But here are the programs that I watch. I have on there, like, I'll watch some of those competition shows. Like, I like the baking shows, right? I like the baking, and I'm not even a baker, right?
He's learning how to bake through osmosis by having it on in the background.
Right. It's like, you know, I'm not even a baker, but I have those, even the tattoo competition shows, and I do have like 2 tattoos, so I do like tattoos. But here's why I watch those shows. These are people that are doing what they love. These are people that are doing their passion. And when I look at these shows, I see how they don't give up. They are resilient. I see how they go through emotional freakout moments. Fear comes up, but they move forward anyway.
Yes.
And what happens is that gives me motivation to keep doing what I'm doing in my business. If I'm having a bad day and I see how they were handling that, I'm like, okay, channel that in. Those are the kinds of shows that I watch, because it really gives you either motivation, it gives me some insight, you know, and other things. And it also gives me understanding. I even watch Homestead Rescue. do I look like I'm homestead rescue and I'm going to be living in the middle of some bush someplace? I was like, I mean, no, I don't. No, I'm not.
No.
But I watch even those types of shows to see what is the psychology behind people that actually do that. Because in my practice, I've had clients who are straight, who are gay, who are trans. I've had clients who are extremely religious, Christian, Jewish, Muslim. I had a Muslim woman that was doing my Love Goddess program. She lives in Egypt with her hijab on, and she was doing my Love Goddess program. And so it's like, what? But isn't she? I said, just because she's Muslim, that doesn't mean she can't get her groove on, right? When she's home or feeling good about herself, that has nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So I dealt with people from so many different backgrounds because I expose myself to, why do people think that way? Why would they do it that way? So when they're working with me, they don't feel any judgment. Yeah. They feel acceptance, right?
And love.
And there you go.
Yes.
They feel love, right? And so they're able to open up to me and be real authentic with me, be vulnerable with me, right? And actually show up, and they get the results. So, I hope, what I'm sharing is resonating. I know.
Yeah. I love so much that you've shared with us, and I can't believe we've already been talking for almost an hour. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I know, right? It went by so fast. You have shared so many amazing nuggets with us. And so I have one question, and if it's okay if you can't answer it and you want to talk about something else. But you had mentioned 4 steps to having a better relationship with yourself. Can you give us nuggets of what those might be? I'm pretty sure you talk about them in your Love Goddess program, but
yes, I do. Actually, these 4 things are in my Love Goddess program, as well as my Manifest Your Man program, because they are the foundation of your success of anything in life, whether it's your profession, whether it's your career, your business, your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with other people. And this is what they are. So if you have paper and pen, I would definitely recommend you write this down. So the first step is your self-worth, okay? Because your self-worth is how you value yourself on the inside, and how you value yourself is how other people are going to value you, okay? So think of it this way: if you don't value who you are, why would a man value you? Why would a man give you anything if you don't value who you are? So a way of valuing yourself is investing in yourself in the form of healing your issues, right? That is a form of investing in yourself, investing in your business, investing in your career, right? Those are all investing in yourself. If you have relationship problems, investing in a program that will help you heal your relationship problems. So that's investing in yourself. If you don't have your own self-worth, if you don't value yourself, why would a business want to give you a promotion? Why would they even want to give you a job? If you're not willing to invest in yourself, why would they invest in you? So that's the whole law of attraction thing. So that's why self-worth is the number 1 step. The second one is your self-image, because your self-image is how you project your value to other people. So that is where your presence comes in. Like, I did corporate brand marketing for 25 years. So as being self-employed, the way I carry myself, that is my brand. Okay, that is my personal brand, and it should align with your business. So for example, someone that I know, she's actually in our same networking group. She's a fitness person. So when she goes to networking meetings, she's always in her fitness gear. Yeah. So some people's like, well, she's at a networking meeting, why would she wear fitness? That is her brand. That is what she does. So she is her brand and things of that nature. That is self-image, how you project your value to other people. So it's an inner game and it's an outer game, both at the same time. They're both equally important. The number 3 is self-confidence. Self-confidence is how you hold yourself. Do you hold yourself in high regard? Do you hold yourself in high esteem, right? And so what happens is, think of like a triangle, okay? Your self-worth is in the bottom corner, your self-image is in the other bottom corner, and your self-confidence is the top of the pyramid, all right? So think of it that way. The other two are your foundation leading to the top of your pyramid. And so that's self-confidence. So you think of it this way, there are other people that are your inspiration that you hold in high regard,
Sure.
right? What happens is, do you hold yourself in that same way? That's where self-confidence is. And then here's the fourth one. This is the yummy one, right? That everyone always like, oh my God, that's the fun part in all the programs is about really tapping into what I call your love goddess persona. This is your sassy alter ego. And so I teach, I have a specific way of really developing that with my clients. It's primarily used a lot in psychology and therapy, but I use it in my coaching. And there have been a lot of studies done around persona work. And so that's the fourth step, because your everyday personality has the baggage. Your everyday personality has the fear. But guess what? Your persona does not. It is a clean slate. All right. So what happens is you use your persona to step into and evolve into your true essence and self. So persona lives within you. It already lives within you. It's just on lockdown. You haven't allowed it to come out and play. This is not fake. It's not fairy tales. It's not make believe. This is real. And so the more you practice and play with your persona, which is what happens in the training with my ladies, you then become integrated as one person. This is what it means to be holistic,
I
right?
love it.
That's what that means. Right now we're fragmented. That's what it means to be holistic. And so that is the foundation. Self-worth, self-image, self-confidence, then show it in your love goddess persona. And then that's what it is to be a holistic individual. And then you'll be showing your true essence, your true self, and being in your personal power to kick some booty in both life and love.
I love it. And I love that you used a triangle or a pyramid or a prism to explain your cycle, because when you get to the your alter ego, your sassy self that you're projecting or radiating out into the world, isn't that what a prism does with light? It takes light
Yes.
and it fragments it out into this beautiful array of a rainbow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
your prism does that. It makes people become a rainbow. There you
Yeah,
go.
and even if you're wondering like what exactly is she talking about, look on a United States bill, money, because on the back they actually have a prism on there with an eye, and it's like, oh,
Yep.
they actually have it going out. So if you want to have an idea of what that looks like, just look at the money on the back side of the
It's
money.
there. That's
It's
right.
there, right? It's there. So even our government knows the power of that because it's actually on our money.
It sure is. It sure is. Stacey, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your light, your love, and your inspiration with others, because I know that people just got so much out of this conversation. I know I did. I've just enjoyed spending this time with you.
And I've enjoyed it with you as well, Terry. And so thank you so much for inviting me, allowing me to talk to your tribe. And hopefully, I hope they got something out of it as well. And if they want to learn any more about what I do, they can just go to my website at thevixenacademy.com.
TheVixenAcademy.com. I know they want to connect with you. So definitely go to thevixenacademy.com and connect with Miss Stacey Murphy. And thank you for taking the time with us today. And for those of you who are listening, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Until
Thank
next
you.
time.
All right. Thank you.